Hello followers and welcome back to my test world, and today I'm going to be showing you the time control within a radius device. This is a device I'm not sure if I came up with or if maybe someone else has already come up with it. I imagine somebody else already has, but basically for my upcoming map, which I will discuss as I have said in the previous video in another one sometime, I wanted to control time in certain specific areas of a map. So at the moment I've been using this clock on my world. It's a standard universal clock hooked up to a command block, which has just got the standard time set 0600, which is this time. So it's just a standard clock, but what I found with it is this command block controlled the time universally, so across the entire world, no matter where you were, whether you were 100 blocks away or 100,000 blocks away, the time would always be glued on this command block. It was just the way it was. But then it started me thinking, and I thought, well, what if I could utilise some of the new 1.5 stuff to actually be able to control time within a radius of a certain amount of blocks? And the good news is I've been able to come up with it. So this is the standard clock we were using over there for the universal clock, and this goes into a command block with a comparator coming out of it, and in this it's a test for command to test for any players, so all players within a radius of 50 blocks, and then it outputs a signal based on that. So, at the moment there's just one player within a radius of 50 blocks, so it outputs a signal strength of 1. This would work on multiplayer because the signal strength will just simply get stronger as it gets extended by a repeater right here. I'm not sure why it's set to 3 ticks. I think it would work just as a regular repeater. Yeah, I think I just must have messed that around a little there. So if I move out of the range of 50 blocks, that will turn off. And then what happens is the redstone signal gets carried here to a block, and then a repeater pulls it out of the block and into another command block which sets the time. So that is the time set, and I'm currently using this clock 0600, and the time is resetting. Now this part is designed because once it comes out of here, the command block needs to get constantly updated. What I found is I put this straight in before and it updated it once, but it didn't keep updating it. So what I had to do here is set up another clock with a redstone wire coming out of it attached to this piston, which goes in and out, which keeps passing the signal through, which means the command block keeps getting updated. So this gets updated about once every second, so once every 20 ticks in redstone talk. So that's pretty much how this works. So if I go out of the range of 50 blocks, then what happens basically is this will turn off because it's being constantly updated from this clock, which means that there'll be no signal here, so there'll be nothing to carry through the block onto the other side, therefore not updated the time. So if I am in another realm, for example, or another area of the map, then I could have another one of these things. So I will be out of the range of this clock, for example, but I will be in range of another device somewhere else, which can set the time. So this means that I can set the time anywhere in the map to be any time that I want, which is really handy. So let's just say I moved out of the range of 50 blocks. You can see the comparator there. It's going to go off any minute now, well, any second now. As you can see, it's gone off, which means the piston will still keep going because that's on a clock, but as you can see now the time is no longer freezing as the command block is not being updated. So that's a good way of controlling time if you want to control time for specific areas within a map, or maybe on a server you want to set a clock to be at spawn so that the spawn is always daytime or something like that. I mean, I can see many uses for this, which is why I imagine someone else has already come up with it, but it's just a very simple time control radius device. This is creative mode only, as the command blocks are only available through the give command, so only available really to creative people. Unless you have cheats enabled on your single player world, then you might find a use for this in a single player world. But yeah, this pretty much covers the time control clock. So this one is set to a radius of 50 blocks, or of 50. You could do the X, Y and Z if you really wanted to, or you could extend the range. This range I think extends way beyond 50 blocks, which is going to be useful because in my upcoming map certain areas are going to be under certain time. Certain time, I want to say time zones, but I don't really think that really works. Certain periods of the day, that is what we're going to go with. Certain periods of the day. So, just a cool little redstone device to monitor time within a radius. So this makes a great alternative to this clock, which just sets time universally. So if I moved 1,000,000 blocks away, for example, it would still stay updating that, whereas this one can just be operated within a circular radius. So that's really useful. I hope that you can find some uses for that yourself. Just need a standard clock. I just use 2 blocks of red wool. They could be any building block. A wire coming out of it to that command block, which you've already seen, and then a comparator, then a piece of redstone wire, then a repeater. You could extend this for as long as you want, even add multiple repeaters if you want. Then you want a gap, and then another redstone repeater, 2 pieces of wire, or it could even be 1 piece of wire, I think, or you could even put the command block next to it, and then with the other command in there. And you want another clock hooked up to this piston, with any building block attached that can be moved, to make sure that the command block here keeps constantly getting updated. Now you could delay the clock if you really wanted to, so that it only goes off every so often. The time is very flexible on this, the amount of time you want it to update. You can make it slower by adding repeaters if you really want to, or you could find other different applications of this. You could slow this one down, so if you wanted the time to be a bit longer, if you wanted to control morning to evening and then reset the time, you could do that using this by slowing the clock down. I would always recommend on these clocks either doing 3 or 4 ticks. I've done 4 ticks on mine. If you use 1 or 2, the torch burns out, which is a bit of a problem, and it would break this. So either 3 or 4 ticks. So I hope that you can find some applications for this, and I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in my next test world video. So thanks for watching, guys, and I hope to see you next time. So until then, see you later and have a good day.